I got you.
All right, creatures of the night, Alex Doriot here, one half of the Talking Taker podcast, and we got a great video coming up for you on the channel today, the top 10 Undertaker matches of the Return of the Dead Man era. That's 2004 to 2010. Travis and I are going to be going back and forth, counting down our top 10 matches of that era. Before we get into that today, I want to let you know that today's video and Talking Taker are brought to you by Manscaped. That's right, you know all about Manscaped, you know what I'm talking about. They keep you looking like a phenom from head to toe, including the Death Valley area. You know what I'm talking about, guys. And if you want to join one of over 7 million men who have taken their hygiene to the next level and have given their old razors and their old shaving equipment the last ride, we want to let you know about a very special offer for you today. Talking Taker and Manscaped are giving you 20% off site-wide plus worldwide shipping absolutely free when you use the code TAKEREASY at manscaped.com. That's TAKEREASY, all one word, TAKEREASY. You hear Travis say it at the end of every episode. TAKEREASY is the code to get 20% off plus free worldwide shipping at manscaped.com. And that includes everything you see here, and especially the Performance Package 4.0. This is Manscaped's latest great offer for you, and they were kind enough to send Travis and I some of these products. I've been trying them out for the past week, and let me tell you, they are worth the hype. These are going to make you want to give, tell every other product you've been using for your men's hygiene, tell it to rest in peace. Because you got here, all included here with the Performance Package 4.0, you've got the signature lawnmower. We know what that's all about there. It's even got a flashlight on there, you know, when you're grooming the Death Valley area. Pretty fantastic. Nothing else like it out there today. You got the weed whacker to trim your nose and ear hair. And believe you me, my wife has been getting on to me about that for years now. And so to finally have an excellent product that can take care of that, it's a game changer. You got the Crop Reviver and the Crop Preserver here. You know, when you're fresh out of the shower, before, you know, you're putting on your all black, before you're putting on your Taker Easy t-shirt, you're going to get that taken care of to be smelling fresh, to be smelling good. You don't want to be smelling like formaldehyde out there. These will take care of that for you. And not only that, in the Performance Package, you're also getting totally free, included in there, you get this awesome travel bag, really nice, super high quality travel bag, and a free pair of boxers. I'm not going to show you the boxers, but I do have them on right now. They're super soft, super comfortable, and I highly recommend them. So that's in the Performance Package 4.0. I can't tell you what an incredible deal this is. I can't put it over enough. Not to mention, it's not included in that, but they've also, Manscaped has moved into the beard trimming area as well. So not just Death Valley, they got you on the kisser as well. You got the beard hedger right here, and as someone who, you know, likes to keep a beard on their face, I gotta tell you, I'm not hyping this up. This is without a doubt the best beard trimmer I have ever used. I've only used it a couple times so far, but it's got over 20 different positions. You got the click wheel right here. You can get a really tight, clean shave, or if you want to keep it a little bit longer, you can raise it up all the way. And if you want to be completely clean shaven, you can also just pop this bad boy right off right here, and it'll get you down all the way, fully smooth there, looking like an American badass, if you will. So that's what Manscaped's got to offer, and I know that you, all of our listeners, our Pod Street crew out there, I know you want to be part of the Manscaped revolution. I know you want to be looking as good and as fresh as me and Travis do every single month here on the podcast. So head to manscaped.com, use the code TAKEREASY. It's all one word, TAKEREASY. Manscaped.com, use code TAKEREASY. Get the Performance Package 4.0, get the beard hedger, get some boxers, get a sweet t-shirt like this, get whatever you want there, and you will get 20% off your entire order plus free worldwide shipping. You really can't beat that. And it's going to be absolutely worth it for you. So, like I said before, tell all your other grooming products, tell all your other hygiene products, tell them to rest in peace, give them a tombstone, give them a last ride, bury them alive, and make the change over to Manscaped. 20% off, use code TAKEREASY plus free shipping. Now, enjoy today's episode.
I'm also looking forward to getting this top 10 countdown in the way. We have not spoken of these to each other. Again, we're fairly confident we know the top several, but it's going to be interesting to hear that kind of our bottom few here as our top 10 as we go back and forth here and just describing what we think encapsulates the top 10 matches of this era. Or, I kind of looked at them as if I got to take 10 matches with me from this era, which 10 would I take? If I can only watch 10, these are 10 that define this era to me and that I want to watch again, so.
Yes, that's a great way to look at it because, there was so...
That's why Luther Reigns is number one.
Absolutely, without question. There's don't even need to mention that.
That was a year ago today that I posted that teaser as we're recording this because it came up on my Facebook memories today.
Nice.
The teaser for No Way Out 05. Sorry, I want to interrupt you there.
No. There's so many... There's like 4 Edge matches. There's like 4 or 5 Batista matches. And they're all great. It was hard for me to pick which Edge and which Batista matches to put into here because I wanted to bring a little bit of variety into my top 10 list. So if I really picked the best, maybe I would have put 4 Edge matches in here because they're all really great. But I didn't do that. I wanted to bring some different stuff in here. And try to represent the era as best as I could. But, yeah, I think you and I are going to have, I think, honestly, the top 7.
5.
Well, I think even more than that. I think are going to be the same matches. I think we may have them in different orders. So we'll talk about that. But I want to give, we haven't really done this for our other top 10s. I want to give one quick honorable mention. I don't think it's on your list. Maybe I'm wrong. But like you said, we haven't talked about this. My number 11 that I want to give for this ranking, I just want to point it out because it was so bizarre that it even came into my mind. I never would have thought this would have even gotten consideration for me for my top 10. Undertaker versus JBL from No Mercy 2004. I just freaking thought that match was so entertaining. And we came into this podcast as huge JBL haters, one of our least favorite wrestlers of all time. But watching it back, he was so darn good at his job, and that was such a fun brawl. And I just it stuck in my mind this whole time, and I really wanted to include it here, but the other top, I just couldn't put it in my top 10. But it's right outside there, and I just want to, I wanted to make mention of that. And pay our respects to JBL because he's one of the things that we did during this podcast where he completely changed my opinion on him.
Yep, absolutely. No, I agree wholeheartedly with you. I don't have JBL match in my top 10, but yeah, he's right there on the cusp, on the outside looking in. So, but yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly with you there.
Do you have another one that's not in your top 10 that was close to going in there that was really on the cusp for you?
No, because honestly, about the top 7, I was like, oh, duh, these are all easy. Maybe even 8, my number 8. It was picking 9 and 10. I really had to sit there and look through our episodes and be like, which ones would I want to do over and relive and rewatch them, and which ones do I think kind of define this part and maybe part of his championship runs or whatever. And then that was the only other one that after I put numbers 9 and 10, 8, 9 and 10 in, I was like, okay, JBL would have been the only one. Other than that, so now I don't have anybody else that I would have thrown in there. So really,
well, why don't you kick it off, man? Give us your top 10, and we'll go back and forth with our top 10 list, and tell us what was your number 10.
All right, my number 10. So, and this one is kind of just here it's episode 100, WrestleMania 20, Taker versus Kane. Again, I put that there because this is the return of the Dead Man character, the return of Paul Bearer. We were there, and for me, it's just too nostalgic to leave off the top 10. I have it at number 10. I almost left it off. Like I said, it was hard to pick those last 9 or 10 ones, and I didn't really know. But I was like, you know what? I've got to put that one on here because that's what kicked off this era. Again, we were there, and just I can remember the feeling when we heard Paul Bearer scream through Madison Square Garden, and we just, we were how old? 17. You were 18. I was 17.
17 and 18. Yeah.
Just freaking out like I'm 10 years old, just hearing that, and just being in awe of that entrance again we hadn't seen in years, and just that's my number 10, man.
Wow, I'm surprised. That did not make
I
my
thought that
top
would
10
surprise
list.
you.
Yeah, I know
I
it
thought
did.
that would surprise you.
That's great. I love it. I think a lot of our listeners are going to agree with you on that one. It's a
Not an
great
in-ring
moment.
classic.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. Like, I love the Undertaker Kane rivalry. I love watching it back. Their matches, I don't. They're just they don't do it for me all that much. But now I respect that pick. My number 10. It was not one that struck out to me, but when I was scrolling back through the matches. I was trying to remember them. I remember just really enjoying this match. It's sort of a sprint, and it's probably maybe not the most memorable to other people, but I thought it was such fun. I went with Armageddon 2007, Edge versus Batista versus Undertaker in a triple threat match. This is the one where the Edgeheads debut, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, and I think it's only maybe like 10 or 12 minutes, but it's all action. It reminded me of Attitude Era style stuff. Man, I just thought it was a really fun way to move on from the Batista feud into the Edge feud, which are two of his best feuds, and sort of a hidden gem, in my opinion.
Yeah, I respect that, man. I do not have that on my list here, but those two guys are going to show up, obviously, on both our lists. I'm sure you can't discuss this era without those two guys. But yeah, that one was a fun one. Definitely, that's a sleeper match. Like, you don't think it's going to be great, but it was a really fun little sprint there. So, well, in that same vein, my number 9 is another fun little sprint that surprised the heck out of both of us. Not a moment of slowdown in it, constant action. This is a recent one. It's episode 152, Bragging Rights 2009, Taker versus CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio versus Batista for the World Heavyweight title. I just remember just being so shocked and surprised by how fun that was, man. And again, just thinking, like, those are 4 freaking Hall of Famers. Like, and this has a fun match. He's got history with all those guys, or he will make history with them, later on, like Mysterio and stuff. But really, really fun match, a fun little sprint that we recommended highly to our listeners.
It's also my number 9. Yep,
really?
Same thing. Yep, dude, it's underrated. It's slept on. No one ever talks about this match. It's on a forgotten pay-per-view. Nope. It doesn't have huge stakes to it, so it doesn't really matter in the long run of things. But man, I recommend anybody, if you didn't watch it when we talked about it a few weeks ago, go back and watch it, man. It's not very long, but it is very fun. It's all action all the way through.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take me to number 8, and this one is going to be episode 127, WrestleMania 23, Taker vs. Batista for the World Heavyweight title. And again, I have this here because I think we both said this. This was Taker's first great WrestleMania match since he came back as a dead man, in our opinion. We kind of dug the Randy Orton one. The Kane one was what it was. The one before that with Mark Henry is not that great, but this one was his first really great WrestleMania match, in my opinion, as when he came back as a dead man. I love that they put a clinic on. It's his first WrestleMania first world title win in 10 years. So just for all those reasons and just how fun it was, and it still stands out on that pay-per-view to me, I put that one there at number 8.
Yeah, you described it perfectly. It's coming up later on my list, no doubt about it. My number 8, I went with versus Rey Mysterio at Royal Rumble 2010. Another match that surprised me. Probably shouldn't have. If you think back to some of Undertaker's greatest matches, it's against smaller guys. But for some reason, at the time when I watched it live, I was just like, why? Why are we doing Undertaker? Rey Mysterio doesn't stand a chance against Undertaker. This is dumb. Like, why are we doing this? But another match that's perfect for what it is. It's not very long. Yep. It shouldn't be very long, but Undertaker gives Rey Mysterio just enough, and Rey Mysterio is just so freaking good, man. He is one of the absolute best. Even here in 2020, he is so darn good at what he does. He's a very special performer. And him and Undertaker, I wish they'd had more matches. They had a few TV matches, but this was their only pay-per-view one-on-one match. Yep. And it's just really fun. And that's why I put it at number 8.
I can respect that. Okay, let me rewind a minute. If number 11, my honorable mention probably would have been that match then.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Because I actually did wrestle with that one. I had to put Kane versus Taker at WrestleMania 20 above it, actually. So, yeah, I did have that one on the outside looking in. So, yeah, I respect that, man, for sure. We're on number 7 now, I think, right? Yeah. So number 7 for me is a man who will show up more than once for me. Episode 139, Extreme Rules One Night Stand, whatever it's called, One Night Stand, Extreme Rules 2008, Taker vs. Edge, World Heavyweight Title TLC match. Absolutely no business for Taker being in a TLC match. Shouldn't be as good as it is. Everything a TLC match should be. I went back and reread both of our notes for this match. We just ran and raved about how great and everything. It was just so well done of a TLC match. I'm just really, and it's not the final chapter in their feud here, but it's just a really, really, really good match with a ridiculous spot Taker takes through those tables. So.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic match. It's so unexpected, and it just shows you the many layers to Undertaker as a performer. Shows you how he's evolved as a performer, that he's been able to go into a match like this. I talked earlier how I had to pare down my Undertaker and Edge choices. I didn't pick this one. I picked two different Undertaker versus Edge matches. Other than that one, I can't argue with that, though. You're making me question that choice, but I'll get to that here in a minute. My number 7 was your number 8 versus Batista at WrestleMania 23. Yep. I think some of our listeners would probably rank that one higher than we rank it, but I have a different Undertaker versus Batista match a little bit higher in my list.
Me too.
This one is great, though. I wouldn't argue with anybody putting it higher. It's, again, you think Undertaker versus Batista, you don't think a 5-star classic. Man,
right.
These two, especially at that time, Batista, this was a real coming out party for him.
Yes, that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah, his best matches ever were probably against Undertaker, which you wouldn't expect.
He'll tell you that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But these guys just had such chemistry together, and they went out at WrestleMania 23 with a point to prove. They kind of felt shafted by not being in the main event that night, and they proved it, man. They proved they could have easily gone on last that night, and Undertaker really... It was sort of a coming out party for Undertaker in a lot of ways, too, making him that not just the streak guy, but the guy who comes out and has the match of the night at WrestleMania.
Exactly. Yeah, if Batista's feud with Triple H put him on the map, his feud with Taker, specifically this match, put him on like the globe, if that makes sense. Like take a small map and then expand it out to the entire globe map. Like it made him a bigger star, going one-on-one with Taker at WrestleMania. So yeah, I absolutely respect that. So we're moving on to number 6 here. So I just had my number 7 was Taker vs. Edge at One Night Stand. Number 6 is the very next episode we covered, episode 140, the SummerSlam 2008, Taker vs. Edge, Hell in a Cell. In my opinion, perfect ending to that feud that brought little pieces of their entire 18-month feud into it. So many nuances, so many callbacks to the Hell in a Cell from the year before where Edge re-debuted against, when Taker was fighting Batista. Just the perfect, again, we mentioned the Batman versus Jory versus Joker story. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself. The Batman versus Joker story, the way Edge literally borrowed from the Dark Knight movie. He's talked about in podcasts about, that character and how he went nuts and everything. Just seeing that all come to an end here was just, to me, just perfect storytelling. So I've got that at my number 6.
Same. That was also my number 6. Yep, that's where I put it for all those same reasons. I just thought it was the perfect ending to this storyline.
Yes.
And I just love that bookend of it. Is the TLC match a better match? In some ways, yes. But when you take the whole 4-match, I think it's 4-match series and everything leading up to it, all the stuff with Vicky Guerrero and all of that, sending Undertaker away and bringing him back, and Undertaker sending Edge down into hell at the end of the match. It's sports entertainment at its best.
Yes.
And, I was trying to limit myself, and that's why I picked that as one of my Undertaker versus Edge matches. I got another one here shortly.
Yeah, I was trying to limit, but it was really hard when these matches were so freaking good, man. So, this cracks our top 5 here now. So my top 5, is going to be episode 128, Backlash 2007, Taker vs. Batista, Last Man Standing, World Heavyweight Title match. these two, again, this is the month after WrestleMania 23, and these guys go on to have a rematch in Last Man Standing. They never disappointed us, but this one stole the show for me at this night. You and I were there in the arena. Vince versus winning the ECW title did not steal the show.
It was
Again,
close.
the fatal four at the end was great, but these guys killed it, and the ending to the match is so perfect, and it's a piece of the longer story, and I love it. But again, really, really phenomenal match.
Same. That's also my number 5. We may be biased because we were there, and
Right.
I'll freely admit that. But
Certainly.
when we watched it back, I thought it was equal, if not better, with the WrestleMania match, and that's why I put it a little bit higher here. There's such a high bar to cover in any type of sequel, whether it's a movie or book or whatever, but to have a wrestling match that the second one is even better than the first one, that's very difficult to do. But these guys went out and did it. They played off of that first one. They proved that it was not just a one-hit wonder or something like that. They went and had just as awesome of a match and a great finish that keeps the story going. Absolute classic.
Absolutely, man. Well, number 4 for me is episode 135, WrestleMania 24, the main event, Taker vs. Edge World Heavyweight Title match. So again, it's not the end of the story. The story gets built more and more, but just watching these two in the main event, we got to watch this at our buddy Caleb's house. So it's just great. It's kind of the re-beginning of their story from 2007, but it goes on here, and it's phenomenal, man. I'll let you talk more about it because I'm sure it's your number 4 too.
It is my number 4. I'm interested if our top 3 are the same. I know we've got the same 3. I wonder if they're in the same order. But
right.
Yeah, man. Edge versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 24. Up to that point, before WrestleMania 25, it's the best Undertaker WrestleMania match of all time.
Exactly.
Easily.
Yep.
Like, they absolutely crush it out there. Both guys put it all out there. Just incredible storytelling. It's got all the bells and whistles. You got Hawkins and Ryder doing their run-in. You got Charles Robinson running down the 3-mile entryway, and, sliding into the ring. You got the first time the Hell's Gate really gets over as a finisher. Just a great spectacle, the great open-air arena in Orlando. Just a fantastic match, fantastic show. And, it's the rare time that... this is the beginning of that story in a lot of ways, and it kind of peaks there. The Hell in a Cell match is great, and it made both our list, but it's amazing how they were able to have this awesome match here and tell such a great story at the beginning of the story, and then even add to it along the way. It's fantastic. I'm sure most of our fans have seen it and would agree. Yeah,
it really is, man. Really, really, really good. So Edge, he made it 3 times on my list, man. It was really, I wanted to cut one out where I couldn't. I had to have all 3 of them on there for me personally.
Oh, yeah. You could make that case. And the Backlash match that they have is really good, too. All their matches are fantastic.
They are. Well, that brings me to my number 3. So the top 3, episode 116, No Way Out, 2006, Taker vs. Kurt Angle, WWE title match. Up to this point, probably Taker's greatest match of all time. Up to this point, it's just so good. It's a Matt classic. It's one of those that I feel like it gets talked about a lot, but not enough. Like, I feel like it's still underrated somehow. When this match is just so good. Again, like we've mentioned, Taker with a smaller mat-based guy, like with Shawn or with Brett or with Angle here. He shines, man. He gets to wrestle a different style. He gets to use his MMA stuff, and it's just freaking phenomenal, man.
So that's where I thought we might differ, and this might be controversial.
That's where
yeah, but I actually went with WrestleMania 26 as my number 3, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, and I've got Undertaker versus Kurt Angle at No Way Out 2006 at my number 2. Obviously, the storyline with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, it's so epic, it's so incredible, it adds so much to it. It's a great match at WrestleMania 26. Some people say it's better than the WrestleMania 25 match. Again, I wouldn't argue with you. It's personal preference.
Yeah.
For me, something about it has just never. It's great, but it's not like one of the absolute greatest of all time, and that's why I've got it number 3. But I've got that Undertaker versus Kurt Angle match at my number 2 for all the reasons you just said. It's so underrated. It's so out of nowhere. It's just, it's amazing. It's just an incredible spectacle. The submissions, good. The near falls. I mean, it's such a pleasure to watch back. It's so exciting. You're on the edge of your seat. It's so unique and so different than so many Undertaker's matches. Man, it's just an incredible wrestling match.
It really is, man. Well, again, my number 2 is going to be WrestleMania 26, Taker vs. Shawn, River Streak. All the reasons you just said. And again, that means both of our number 1 is exactly the same. It's the punching match between Taker and Big Show. No, number 1 is the one it's got to be, right? I mean, it's episode 147, WrestleMania 25, Taker vs. Shawn, the match that nobody needed to ever follow. Wrestling could have died that night, and we'd have been fine.
That's right.
It'd have been fine. So, yeah, that's our number 1, ladies and gentlemen. I had a feeling, for some reason, I had a suspicion that we wouldn't have one. I had this feeling you wouldn't put 2. Or our number 2s would be different. I just had a sneaking suspicion about that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I could have put that Shawn Michaels there, but yeah, man, that Kurt Angle match has just stuck out to me ever since we did it, of how great it is. I think if it took place at WrestleMania, people would put it, on that list next to the Shawn Michaels match. But I think the fact that it's on a B show, I think takes it down a little bit in some people's minds. That's why there's still some people that have not seen it. Every wrestling fan has seen all the WrestleMania matches, but some of these B shows, a lot of people haven't seen. And so, yeah, man, that Undertaker versus Kurt Angle match, if you hadn't seen it, go back and watch it. But the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match, it's one of those that has a legendary reputation, and it absolutely lives up to it. If not more with time. So WrestleMania 25, unquestionably our number 1 match for this era. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels took the number 1 match from our first era in that Hell in a Cell. So I don't know if they'll take it for our final era. Undertaker and Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I don't know if it'll be number 1 for the final era that we'll cover.
Who knows? Yeah, I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Yeah.